like to call to order the August 26, 2013 regular meeting of the Boulder Valley School District Board of Education. Sandy, will you call the roll?
Albright.
Here.
Belville.
Here.
Benford.
Here.
Fuqua.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Smith.
Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to remind everyone the new vision of the Boulder Valley School District is we develop our children's greatest abilities and make possible the discovery and pursuit of their dreams, which when fulfilled will benefit us all. We provide a comprehensive and innovative approach to education and graduate successful, curious, lifelong learners who confidently confront the great challenges of their time. With that, we could move to our superintendent's report. Dr. Messenger.
President Reed, members of the board, good evening. And I have a few items I'd like to update you on, and then of course I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have. So the big news since the last time we were together is that we started school. And it's big news and good news. And one of the things that we do out of this building is that we scatter in the first 2 days, visit all the campuses and divide up, and that's really enjoyable for us as members of cabinet and other administrators in this building, and it's a great time for us to visit with and engage with staff and students. So overall, things are going very well with the start of the school year. I want to comment on a couple things regarding the startup, and one is regarding enrollment. As you know, our official enrollment count isn't until October. We monitor this very close in anticipation for the start of the year, and then of course once students arrive, we pay a lot of attention to that for reasons which are obvious. But we had projected for this year about a 200 student growth, and that was reflected in your budget planning in the spring, and so that's what we expected. Overall, we will meet and possibly exceed that by a small margin, so we're seeing a little greater growth than what we had projected. And of course, that isn't evenly distributed, as you would expect. So some of the patterns that we're seeing is that our kindergarten enrollment is a little off of where we thought it would be, and so we're monitoring that really closely, and we'll continue to watch for that. And then our high school level is a little higher than we had projected. So in combination of the other levels, that would, overall we get ahead of our projections a little bit. Part of the process is that when students enroll in our district, they go through our open enrollment or our registration office, and it always takes us a while, especially there's a rush in the summer, and when folks move into the community, those kinds of things, or relocate, or they decide they want to come to school here. We're pretty well caught up. We're still verifying some records with families to finalize some of that, but you know, there sometimes can be a backlog there, but we're in pretty good shape right now. And we will continue to monitor that as we go forward. Obviously, it will reflect in our budget ultimately with our October count, and we'll give you updates on that. But overall, it's about where we expect it to be. We look at patterns where we're up or down within grade levels or within schools. We have a process where before school starts, where we go through an appeal process for additional staffing if we have hot spots in areas by grade level, by classrooms. So we try to make those adjustments before the year begins. We have some reserve that you authorize that we hold in the budget for that, and so we still have some reserve. And we are still monitoring some situations, and we try not to add necessarily grade level classrooms or sections. I mean, we try not to after the year starts, but sometimes we do. And so other ways we provide relief is sometimes paraeducator support or other kinds of support. So it may not be a new section or a new classroom in a grade level. We try to get as many of those done before the year starts, but you know, we don't always know what will happen on the first day. The other topic that relates to that are our staff, and so overall, other than some late hires that we did because we added some of those sections or because of classroom grade levels added, we're pretty well caught up with our staffing overall. I just thought you might be interested in some numbers. We have about 110 new teachers that joined our system since last year, so new teacher employees, about 16 administrators in positions, and overall almost 200 new employees to the school district since we dismissed school in the spring. So, you know, many of those are replacing existing staff that either retired or resigned. But so all of our staff, HR, human resources, and others have been very busy. And those are pretty well evenly divided between our elementary and secondary, as well as some of our specialist areas. The other area of emphasis or attention this time of year is the temperatures in our schools. And so I wanted to just give you an update. Some of what we did last summer in anticipation for the start of school, we did again this year, meaning that we checked systems to make sure they were as fully operative as we can make them, whether it's air conditioners working correctly or getting the cooling to the right rooms, those buildings that have air conditioning and those that don't, that we make sure we're bringing in to our maximum ability the night air to get the buildings cooled down in the early morning hours before school starts, and then wait for the temperatures to come back up again. So I just wanted you to know that same effort was made this summer preparing for the school year. And so overall, with regard to the mechanical side of this, things are, every day there are things that fail and you work on them, but with this many buildings. But overall, we feel confident that the kinds of operational things we did a year ago did them again this year, and we think it had a positive impact. That said, what we know is if the nighttime temperatures don't get to a certain level and stay there for a period of time, and the daytime temperatures go up as high as they have been, it results in very warm classroom conditions. So, as you might expect, we have some warm classroom conditions right now, and in part, we don't see that as a mechanical issue as much as it is just the temperatures outside and the nighttime cooling not getting down below 60 degrees. So the forecast for this week isn't particularly encouraging. It looks much like it has been. So we're hoping we get through this Labor Day weekend, that we can come back to at least a break in the temperatures a little bit. If we can take 5 to 7 degrees off the daytime highs and get the nighttime cooling back down below 60, then we can get through most of the day pretty well in most locations in our school. But that's kind of where we are, and obviously as we've done other years, we're working with staff and students to try to just do our best on very warm conditions. Okay. So that are a couple of things I wanted to mention to you, and then the other thing I wanted to mention is today several of us attended the Pacesetter Awards presentation at the Millennium that the camera hosts each year, and Dr. Candelara, principal of Sanchez International, was recognized with a Pacesetter Award in the area of education. And it was a nice celebration. The whole event was a great celebration. We had a young man who attends Southern Hills who was also, if you saw the article in the paper on the Sunday, it was a nice presentation to both Doris and also to one of our students, and both were quite articulate in their acceptance of the award and talking about what inspires them. So it was a very uplifting noonday luncheon and a nice celebration for our community, again, put together by the Daily Cameras. So anyway, when you get the chance, I know you will, to congratulate Doris. Her parents were there and her spouse, and it was a really nice celebration, and a number of staff. So that concludes my report. Jim, I'd be glad to answer any questions that board members might have.
Thank you, Dr. Messenger. Questions? All right, we can move to our next item, which is public hearing and public participation. So we have nobody signed up, so we can move to our next item, board communication. All right, Lori.
Well, I'll just say really briefly, thanks for humoring me. 2 weeks ago, I was out in California working with my mom and listening in and participating, so it was an interesting experience. I'm working with Sandy to be a little bit, think about the technology a little differently. It was, I understand you all could hear me really well. Great. I had a hard time hearing some of the comments. So it was just, I think all of us will probably, might someday be away, and it was just a real different experience. I'm really glad to be back. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, Jenny?
Make something up. So a number of us had the opportunity to attend the Mapleton ribbon cutting, and so the opening of that beautiful new early childhood center. Congratulations to the district on this, and to the people in our community who I think are really going to benefit from that. And I want you to know that I'm already hearing from people in East County who think that a similar facility out there would be just wonderful. So just passing that on.
Thanks. Tom?
Yeah. So I had the opportunity of attending the Mableton opening ceremony as well, and toured the building. It's the first time I've seen the building, and it's just spectacular. If you haven't seen it, it is amazing. Talked to a number of people, some people who had gone to school there, younger age, glad to see it, back up and running. Talked to a number of people that were eyeing the additional space upstairs as they had plans for what we could do with that. So it was nice to get to talk to people and celebrate all that went into it and all it took to get there. Also, on a side note, your comments about the calling in and communication, that was my experience. People could hear me, but I couldn't hear them. And maybe we can tie in the microphone system a little bit better in the future to help that out.
We sure are beta testing it, so appreciate everyone's patience while we work through things. All right, well, thank you, board members. Covered the Mapleton opening. Yes.
To both Lori and Tom's comments, we are in fact working on a solution to make that connectivity both easier for staff, but also more user-friendly for folks in attendance here as well as the user online. So we think that's very doable. We just need to get the equipment installed. So we are working on that.
Cool. Lori?
And I'll be happy to bring my Mac, if that would help. Okay, I'll test drive my Mac, absolutely. Thanks.
All right, thanks. So our next item is our consent grouping tonight, which consists of personnel items, approval of minutes, August 13, 2013, regular meeting, amendment to superintendent contract, City of Boulder amendment to fiber agreement, Colorado Youth for a Change dropout contract 1314, cooperative purchaser participation, and grant transportation charge ahead vehicle grant, Colorado Regional Air Quality Council 13. I need a motion. Jenny, seconded by Lori. Does anybody have any items they would like to pull? Any items with questions or comments? Seeing none, Sandy, will you call the vote?
Albright?
Yes.
Belleville?
Yes.
Benford? Fuqua?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Our last item before adjourning is any items for agenda setting for coming up in September?
Jeez.
Seeing none, we can stand adjourned. Thank you.